Perfect. I think we'll just kick off. The first bit's the introduction anyway, so if anyone misses it, they're not missing the key details. So myself and David will be taking you through the National Fit for Offshore Renewable Programme webinar today. And I will click on to the next page. So the agenda for today is that we'll be doing a short introduction. David will be taking you through the ORE Catapult and Fit for Offshore Renewable National Programme overview. I'll be doing the OWGP overview and the application process if you're going to be applying for this national programme. We'll do the ORE Catapult other opportunities and the OWGP other opportunities. There'll also be a chance at the end of the session for some questions and answers. We are recording today's session, so if you don't manage to stick around for the whole session, it will be posted online. So David, I will hand across to yourself now.
Thank you so much, Laura. Hi, everyone. As Laura introduced us, I am Dawood. I'm the program manager for Fit4OR. What I am going to do right now is I will give a quick overview about Catapult in general, ORE Catapult, and then I'll take you through the details of Fit4OR program. Offshore Renewable Energy Catapult is the UK's leading technology innovation and research center for the sector. We do have a mission to accelerate the creation and the growth of UK companies in the sector through various forms, through various activities, like by trying to reduce the cost and the risk in renewable technologies by accelerating creation and growth of UK companies, bringing together innovators, industry and academia through different sessions, different sort of activities that we are going to cover, some of them like a spotlight event that Laura is going to mention it later on. Next slide, please. We do have about over 300 engineer, researcher, and sector experts, and the world-leading test and demonstration centers and facilities. As you can see throughout the map, we do have presence across the country, across the UK, from Hale in southwest part of England to Aberdeen, which is northeast of Scotland. We do have several activities like research, innovation, testing, validation, and supply chain growth. Fit4 comes under supply chain growth activity. So next slide, please. Fit4 national program is the program that has been adapted from Fit4 Nuclear, successful program called Fit4 Nuclear. We adjusted, aligned it to offshore renewable supply, to offshore renewable sector, and try to help the supply chain through different activities that we do, different strands that it does have. What we do receive is that program is evolving every single time. We do have a industrial advisory group. As you can see, there are developers like ENBW, SSE, Scottish Power, Siemens, RWE, Equinor, and every 6 months we get together, we discuss what are the challenges, how we would like to tackle those challenges, and how Fit4 can fill those gaps to help the supply chain to work better with developers. Next slide, please. Laura, could we please go to the next slide? I think there is a... So Fit4 in general has two strands, two pillars. The first one is...
Perfect. David, you're back now.
Oh, did you lose me?
I did, but I don't know if anybody else did.
Okay, so what I'll do, I'll quickly go through the whole process. Again, hold the slides. In OR renewal, in ORE, we do have a program called Fit4. Fit4 has two strands. One strand is about sector specific, raising the knowledge about the sector, and the other one is business excellence. And we try to improve the process of the companies to achieve certain standards to work with developers. Fit4 in general try to fill the gap between developers and also supply chains. As we can see on the right-hand side, we do have an industrial advisory group that are developers like SSE, Econor, RWE, ENBW, that every 6 months, twice a year, we get together, we try to understand what are the requirements that developers feel supply chain needs to have, or what are the gaps they believe supply chain should work on it. And that's how Fit4 evolves every time that we do get to that IAG session. Next slide, please. The aim of Fit4 is to increase the competence and capacity and competitiveness of the UK offshore renewable energy supply chain by maximizing opportunities for both domestic and global. We do have companies that they were not active globally. After taking the being through the program, they started being active, acting as a global entity and be part of the global supply chain. We try to identify high potential supply chain organizations with the view that they want to be part of the supply chain offshore wind industry. We try to help companies to build capabilities and how to apply and win contracts as well, businesses, and sustain continuous improvement. The next aspect that we work on Fit4. Next slide, please. So far, Fit4 has been across the country in different cohorts, various cohorts. Some of them were regional, like Northeast Scotland or a Scottish pilot, or Orkney and Caithness, Sutherland, so focusing on a specific part of the country. This is the second cohort that is fully covering the UK-wide. So it's the second national cohort that we are hosting. So far, we have had 135 participants. More than 110 of them have been successfully supported, and 69 of them so far, they have been successfully granted. The difference between successfully granted and business supported is that those companies that they still need to go through the process, they're not fully done. We do have live cohorts like Orkney and Caithness or Northeast Scotland 5, 4, those are our 3 cohorts that are still live. So that's the difference between successfully granted and business supported, or are companies that are still going through the process. We have had, we started the program in 2019, as I would like to highlight. It's been around for about 5-6 years now, and we are expanding every year to different regions, different locations. Thanks to OWGP, we are running the second national cohort this year. Next slide, please. Program overview is that generally it takes something between 12 to 18 months. Obviously, this is not a fixed figure, depends on the activities that and the effort that companies put on it. We have had occasions that it took just about 7 months, 6 months for companies to go through the process, and we have had occasions that it went to 30 months. So it all comes back to dedication of the companies as well. We do have 2 strands, as I mentioned previously. Strand 1 is about business management system and practices, and the strand 2 is about offshore wind knowledge and experiences. we do initially assess the business management system and practice and try to support you in one-to-one coaching and action and improvement plans to get to a certain level that is required by developers, or the evidence of the progress will be uploaded and the progress will be tracked across the time. And finally, when enough process has been made, companies will get a fit for granted status. Next slide, please. The program overview, phase 1 is business excellence and phase 2 is sector specific. There are various topics that will be covered in each of the phases. Sector knowledge, cost reduction and competitiveness, capacity and capabilities, sector-specific HSE, technical risk management, commercial risk management. These are part of the sector-specific phase. And strategy leadership, people, design and project delivery, process and operation, health and safety environment, general, and quality are the part of phase 1, which is business excellence. Next slide, please. The program overview is that we usually start with EOI, but they're still live, and I encourage you to apply. Go to our website, either OWGP website or ORE Catapult's website, and submit your EOI. Then there will be online self-assessment. Literally, what is going to happen at this stage is that, based on your judgment, where are your processes? How are you confident about your knowledge? How are you confident about different aspects of the business? And then our advisors will visit you in one-to-one sessions. They will visit you, try to confirm what you have scored yourself previously in the previous stage. And sometimes the score that they give you is higher, sometimes it's lower based on their assessment. And then there will be some improvement plan involved. And then when the improvement plan has gone through, has been applied, evidence has been uploaded, the next step will be pre-granting and independent granting panel presentation and review. As I said, it takes about 12 to 18 months on average. This is not a fixed number. And when you are granted, you will be added to the F4OR database. You will get industry engagements through meet the buyers activities or spotlight events that you will get a stand. And also there will be strategic supply chain opportunities that will arise. So we will try to support you in the whole process of the granting to be successful within the sector. Next slide, please. So outputs, as I said, more than 110 companies have been supported or they're granted. Typically, based on the figures that we do have, business excellence scores, which were related to process improvements in general, the scores increased by 13% in comparison to the beginning of the whole process before starting Fit4. And from sector-specific score, it's 22%. So the knowledge about the sector and the different aspects of sector will be increased by 22%. And these are the figures that we gather beginning of the process and at the end of the process with your help. We do have a successful records of companies that won work and were successful in tendering within offshore renewable. And also worthwhile mentioning that creating job is another successful criteria for us. We do have several testimonials, several successful companies that they went through the program, such as Balmoral, 2H Offshore, and as I said, about more than 60 of them, more than happy to share their insight and their inputs with you if you required, obviously offline. So please get in touch with us, with me, if you needed to know more about other companies or our Fit4 database. Who are those companies? Obviously, you can go to our website and look at the successful companies that went through the Fit4 program and have a record of them. So next slide, please, Laura. I'll hand back to you.
Perfect. Thanks, David. And I've double checked and it was my internet that went, so hopefully I didn't speak over you when you were doing your section. So I would like to do a quick introduction to the Offshore Wind Growth Partnership. So I'm Laura Fairley, the Business Transformation Programme Manager, who is within OWGP. If I can get the slides not to skip. So an introduction to OWGP. So it's a long-term business transformation programme for the UK offshore wind supply chain. We look to do this through different methods, whether that's through business transformation programmes such as Fit4 Offshore Renewables, like David was speaking about there with all the successes that has had, through to the funding element. It is funded by the Offshore Wind Industry Council, and there is a budget of £100 million over 10 years. And that's really to help increase that UK impact. You can see some of the goals here on the right-hand side. So increasing the UK impact, the UK projects, exports to global markets, economic values, and the IP embedded within the supply chain as well. So to date, since we first started, we have supported over 300 projects now to help that offshore wind supply chain grow. You can see some of the facts and figures here. Over 1,500 jobs have been increased. There's 196 marketable products and services within the industry. And the map that you can see here on the left-hand side just shows the kind of scale and the representation that we're getting across the UK for some of the different programmes. The green are the business transformation programmes such as WEST, which is our Wind Expert Support Toolkit, Fit4 Offshore Renewables and Sharing and Growth, and the yellow ones are from the funding element, so our innovation development grants, and our newly launched manufacturing facility support programme isn't on there yet, but hopefully we'll be able to add more dots to there as the years continue. So I suppose here's an overview of the OWGP team in general. So as you'll see here, myself and Lynn have a similar role. So I'm currently the interim business transformation programme manager, while Lynn is on leave, and I work with this great bunch of people. It's really a joy every day. So the Fit4 Offshore Renewable National Programme, we've heard David speak a little bit about it, and I'd like to take you through the application process. So the eligibility, you can see here on the right-hand side. So you have to be a UK registered company. You have to clearly articulate your desire to grow within the industry or move into the industry, and make that a marketplace for yourself. It's ideal if you hold ISO 9001 or be working towards this. Be open-minded to identify needs and deficiencies and have a proactive attitude towards that kind of business strategy piece and making those changes within your company. I suppose it's always key to work closely with ourselves and ORE Catapult to allow that support to be delivered. And also demonstrate the impact that a support programme such as this can do for yourself. So I'm in the kind of fortunate position that before I joined ORE Catapult and OWGP, that I was actually part of a company that was going through the Fit4 Offshore Renewable process. So it's quite nice to be on the other side now, to be able to give this to other companies and kind of help them work through that and get to the point where they're granted. So the application process itself is pretty straightforward. So there's an online expression of interest, and there is a QR code at the end of this presentation, but you can find links to that online through OWGP website or the ORI Catapult website. What we would advise is having a look at the scope and guidance document, which can be found on the OWGP website, which will give you a list of those questions prior to filling them out. Once you've filled this out, there will be a kind of down selection process where a long list of companies will then be invited to do a further online capability questionnaire based on the kind of business excellence or sector specific, depending on what route they've chosen to take. Once this is submitted, the companies will be selected and a support offer will be issued via email. There'll be a kind of discussion process in between this as well. Obviously, when you're filling out that online expression of interest, choose the option you think and feel your company's most suited to. And if we have any questions, we'll be able to get back to you. Once you have the support offer letter, we would need confirmation from yourselves. So further on in this presentation, I'll take you through some of those timescales, but we're hoping to have this process done by the end of this year. So the slight difference this year is the different programme routes. So what we found is the classic route didn't suit all companies. Each company, I suppose, is in a different stage of their journey, and they're each unique to their offshore wind industry. So we have the classic route, which includes both that business excellence piece and sector specific route that David had mentioned before. This is approximately between 12 and 18 months. There's business excellence route. So this is for companies who already work within the offshore wind industry, but want to kind of benchmark themselves against business excellence principles. Sector specific. So there are other Fit4 programs that have been run in the past, as David mentioned, such as Fit4 Nuclear. And if a company has already gone through this, we see it being quite a kind of nice tie over so that they can just focus on that sector specific piece to look to expand their company within the industry. This duration of this is approximately 6 to 9 months. And then lastly, we have the re-granting route. So it's fantastic that the Fit4 Offshore Renewable programme is at that stage that companies have kind of been granted, have had that granting kind of process for a number of years and are at the stage that they would like to continue this. So if a company has had their kind of grant finish within the 6 months, then they can reapply through this route for a kind of granting check. We've put up to 12 months here because it'll be dependent on each company how long that will take with the advisors. So programme funding thresholds. So for the Fit4 Offshore Renewables National Programme, there's different funding methods, whether that's fully funded through OWGP or partially funded. You can see here this is based on the company size, and also the amount will be based on the route itself. So the company contribution can be seen here. If there's any questions about that, you can get in touch with myself or David kind of after this session. It's worthwhile saying that providing there's enough applications, there'll be a minimum of 14 companies that will be funded through this process. But because there'll be that blend of both different routes and fully and partially funded, this may be increased. So a quick overview of the expression of interest. So you can see the links here. You can get the scope and guidance document from the OWGP website, and then the expression of interest is quite a simple online form. There's guidance provided in each of the different areas which responses are needed, and it's a kind of blend of numerical and text response boxes. It's key to note that you can't save and return to your application, which is why we advise that you kind of download the questions beforehand from the scope and guidance document and then kind of copy and paste them across before submitting. So key dates to the process. So expression of interest is open. As you'll be aware, you're at that online briefing at the moment, and the closure is the 6th of November. So you've got another couple of weeks to get your questions in for that expression of interest, and also to reach out to me and David if there's any clarifications that you would like. Following this, the long list of applicants will be notified on the 15th of November, and they'll then have 2 weeks to complete that self-assessment form, whether that's business excellence, sector specific, both, or some questions around the re-granting side of stuff. And then the final feedback to companies and selections of participants will be by the 13th of December. The kick-off for the Fit for National programme will then happen in the new year. So to get your stuff in, make sure you're registered on our website, fill in the expression of interest, and once you have hit submit, you will receive an email acknowledgement to confirm your application has been received. I'll now pass back across to David so that he can tell you about more of the ORE catapult opportunities that are currently ongoing.
Thank you so much. As I mentioned previously, ORE Catapult is a research and innovation center. And we do have several programs to support supply chain. It's not just Fit4, depends on the type of support that's required by companies. We do have different programs that you can join and get help if it's required. So next slide, please. The main programs that we do have, it's one of them is Launch Academy. Launch Academy is a technology accelerator program. Currently, we do have 2 live cohorts that they are in application stage. So have a look at our website, ORE Catapult, and if that's something that you do have a technology that you would like to introduce it or take it through various stages like IP, legal, Launch Academy is the program that is going to support you. As part of is system performance, availability, and reliability trend analysis. Offshore Wind Innovation Hub, it's another program. I encourage all of you to read about those programs. Those programs, each of them, they do have several categories, and each of the categories are supporting different type of companies. So a startup is really important for on data perspective. If you require some sort of data to do the research or to get it can complement what Launch Academy is doing as well. So if you are developing a technology that requires some data, it can be joined to Sparta or the other way around. Offshore Wind Innovation Hub, the name is self-explanatory, so I'll leave it to you. Cohort is another program for Southwest, focusing on Southwest. And if, again, you are located on that side of the country, I'd encourage you to have a look at Cohort because it's regional. There's a high chance that different type of supports will be available for businesses in that region. Next slide, please. I'll hand back to you, Laura.
Perfect. Thanks, David. It's really, I suppose, good to see the kind of range of support opportunities there are within the UK. And if there's any other questions that you might have, please just get in touch with myself or David, and we'll be able to kind of point you in the right direction of the owners of each of those programs. So I'll take you through quickly the different opportunities that we have within OWGP currently. So these are active opportunities. So we have our Wind Expert Support Toolkit, so one of our business transformation programs. This is approximately between 12 and 14 weeks, and applications are kind of on a rolling basis. This is need-focused support and kind of is tailored to the company and will allow them to look into different topics within the offshore wind domain. And that access can be everything from specialist advice, market intelligence, and insight into the sector. We also have currently open for attendees is the Spotlight, Supply Chain Spotlight event that David mentioned at the start of this webinar. So OWGP and ORE Catapult kind of run this exhibition, and it is there for the supply chain. So it's for companies that have been supported through either of us to kind of turn conferences on their head a little bit, in the sense that the focus is purely about those companies, showing kind of those innovations that they have, showing their development over the kind of past 5 years, and it invites developers, it invites investors, and it invites people that will have an interest in the UK supply chain. So if you'd like to attend that, there is a link on this slide that you'll be able to get after this session. We also have other opportunities that release at different points throughout the year. So make sure you register online to get access to these as and when they're released. So these include our Manufacturing Facility Support Programme, which recently just closed, our Development Funding Programme, and our Innovation Funding Programme. So as you can see, there are a lot of opportunities. It's just making sure that you go for the right one for your company. And now we are on to the question and answer session. So up on screen, I've also left myself and David's contact details and also our QR code that will be able to bring you directly to that expression of interest form. But a reminder that the scope and guidance document has all the questions if you'd like to see them before. Thank you. I think if you have any questions, you can add them to the chat box, the Q&A area. Thanks for your question, John. So John has asked if someone who is just on West can apply. So I suppose the answer to that would be that they can apply if they want to. I suppose a key thing to bear in mind with Fit for Offshore Renewables is the resource and the capacity side. So if you are able to, I suppose, warrant doing both of them, it's something that we can look into. But yeah, apply away, and then there might be further discussions to be had.
There is a question about criteria of number of employees. Typically, minimum is 10 full-time employees, but that's just UK based. And if you do have, for instance, if you do have a footprint or an office in the UK, but the main company is operating somewhere else, that we do have these occasions mainly through Southeast Asia. I would comment here that please don't let that criteria to mislead you. We will consider companies that they do have just footprint in the UK or small offices if they are present. But if the whole company is more than full-time, it should be fine. And yes, part-time employees will be counted as well. So that's another point that I would like to raise. Don't let those numbers mislead you, and apply for count them toward the criteria and apply for them.
Thanks, David. David, I don't know if you want to mention about there's somebody that has asked a question around startups. So maybe like it's based off the back of the question that you just answered, but maybe a minimum size of company that we're looking for.
Yes, thanks, Sonny. I would not suggest startups to go through Fit4. Fit4 is an extensive process and program. What we require is about more mature businesses rather than startups. For startups, there are other programs within ORE Catapult and OWGP that it would be better to go through them. Laura mentioned about the WEST program. As I mentioned about Launch Academy is another one that you can take benefit from it. However, Fit4, because of the length and the depth of it, startups are not suitable companies to go through the whole process.
Thanks, David.
And sorry, there is another one
Yep.
that Ben is asking about, is there a limit to the annual turnover of the business? We do need, obviously, a minimum, but there is not a limit. So we have had massive organizations that have applied for the program and they went through it. So there is no cap, if it makes sense. And but there is a limitation from the minimum that we would like to see.
Yeah, perfect. And just to add to that side, Ben, the company size side will depend on kind of the funding eligibility, so whether it's fully funded or partially funded, and that can be seen in one of the tables that is within this slideshow that we quickly skipped past, so you would have been easily able to miss it, or it's in the scope and guidance as well, so if you want to look back, you'll be able to see that. Graham, you've asked a question around the scope appears very generic, and I'll let David add to my answer after, but I don't think there's a specific service or product that we're looking for. It's really to support the growth of the offshore wind supply chain. And that can be from companies that are already within the industry or companies that are coming from other sectors. David, have you got anything to add to that one?
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Laura. There is no product or service that we are looking for in a specific. We have had consultancy-based companies that went through the program because they've shown the potential. At the same time, manufacturing is really, really important for us, manufacturing sector. Some service companies like drone inspection companies, they have gone through the program. So shortening my answer is that there is not a specific product or service that we require you to have. It's just showing the potential and being valuable to the sector. It doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be a really mature product at the same time as well, or mature services. It can be transitioning from another sector, such as oil and gas or rail or automotive, that you would like to expand your business to the offshore wind. If it's relevant, we will support you with that. At the same time, if you do have a product that it's really, really well established already within the sector, so you're already in the sector, active, there is a route for you that's just business excellence. So if you do have the knowledge and expertise from sector-specific side, I would encourage you to apply for the business excellence route. So your processes, your activities improve to a certain standards that mainly developers and tier ones would like to see from their supply chain.
Perfect, thanks, David. And I suppose that piece that you've mentioned there about going for either sector specific or business excellence kind of links to both sides. So if people are thinking, yep, we've got all the processes sorted, but we want to have more information on the market, then it works for that, but same vice versa. And David, I don't know if you can expand a little bit on the kind of positives that have come from granted status and how companies can then use that moving forward?
Certainly. Fit for is not a requirement within the sector. However, it does have soft powers. So, as I mentioned to you, our industry advisory group, the procurement team, they prepare to work with the companies that they do have Fit for granted status, because they do trust the knowledge and the processes that are embedded within the companies. However, there's no requirement, so it doesn't necessarily mean that if Fit for is being granted, you will be sent over tenders. That's one point that needed to be clarified. However, as I mentioned previously, the turnover companies that they went through the whole program usually showed increase of about 12% increase in their revenue in the sector, and also about 7% increase in jobs within the company. That's from the company perspective. And from tendering and contracting perspective, we do have a detailed map out of it in our annual report, that how each region benefited from the tenders. I'll give you an example, that Northeast Scotland, because we ran 4 cohorts over there, and this is the 5th one. The 5th one will start shortly. It showed that about 15 million contract has been won by companies that went through the program. And also there were about 38 million pounds tenders that they started applying for it. So, and those companies were companies that they were merely oil and gas, and they wanted to transition to the sector. So it doesn't mean that they fully moved to the new sector, but they wanted to start working in the sector. And Fit for helped them to achieve that knowledge and that confidence. Also, as Laura mentioned, we do have several events that you will be involved, meeting developers and tier ones face-to-face. You will be provided opportunities to meet other companies. So far we have had about 18 acquisitions inter-cohorts. So it means that companies that they were working together, they saw potential in each other. They did that. We do have about 23 successful collaboration between companies in the cohorts, that they went bidding for each other. They started a product with each other. So you will meet like-minded people as well, to start collaborating and further develop the business.
Great, thanks, David. There's a question here on whether the opportunities, like for tenders, direct engagement with supply chain, is facilitated through the programme. And I suppose, depending on the size of the company and I suppose your journey about thinking about offshore wind, it's worth having a look at some of the other programs as well. So the Wind Expert Support Toolkit, the WEST program, is really quite good at helping you identify that next step and that next strategy. And I suppose, David, you can expand on how then Fit for might help with that side, so the tenders and direct engagement from supply chain.
Yeah, sure. From tendering perspective, as I mentioned, we do have specific modules and advisors in place to help you to understand how the sector works if you are not active in the sector at all. And if you are active in the sector, what are the improvements that you can do to be successful with those tenders? So each company will receive 2 advisors, and each advisors, they will provide one-to-one sessions with them. So you will have opportunities to ask questions, you will have opportunities to provide evidence to show that how you can improve, or actually going back and talking about the future opportunities where you can find best tenders in place. What are the projects that are happening across the country? And in terms of meeting buyers and also developers, excuse me, and tier ones, we do have, depends on the location of the cohorts. Obviously, we will have various networking events, meet the buyers, that you will be involved in all of them. As I said, Fit4 is not a guarantee that you will be successful in the sector. However, it helps you to accelerate the process, meet people that they are active in the sector, and also developers tier ones of the supply chain that they require your services. On the other hand, that I mentioned previously as well, meeting like-minded people, it's another aspect of Fit4. People that would like to be part of the new supply chain that is developing across the UK, and being in a room with them always showed successful. As I said, about 23 successful collaborations between companies that they went through the whole process, and lots of other activity that has happened. To get the better understanding of the impact of Fit4, I encourage all of you to go through our website, look at our annual report. We do have 3 annual reports on our website. You can see the progress of the companies that they went through each year and see how it impacted their businesses. You're going to find lots of testimonials there as well from the companies. And as I said, I'm more than happy to pick it up with you separately and individually regarding those questions as well.
Perfect. Yeah, Fit4 definitely gives you those kind of building blocks that you need to make that journey into the sector. So Lucy, you've asked here about the minimum turnover. So what we've got in the guidance documents is 1 million turnover. And for kind of this route, you'd be classed as a small company and it would be fully funded through OWGP. Mohammed, you've asked around region-specific programs. I'm not sure if you mean Fit4 regional or general, but from a general point of view, it's something to keep an eye on for. From an ORE Catapult side, they've just recently closed their Launch Academy Scotland, so that was obviously, as the name suggests, based in Scotland, and they'll have their national programme launching soon. There's the TIGOR piece that David mentioned as well. This is more a regional programme, and through the OWGP side, we tend to do UK national based programmes. David, I know you've mentioned the regions at the moment, but is there any updates on maybe upcoming regional programmes that will be coming?
Yeah, sure. The coming regional programmes, we will have one in Northeast Scotland in 2 weeks' time that will be launched. Currently, we do have live cohorts regional, one in Wales, one in Northeast Scotland, one in Orkney and Caithness and Sutherland, but they are not receiving applications. So the only regional one that will be launched soon is about Northeast Scotland.
Perfect, thanks, David. And for anybody listening that's thinking, oh, which one do I apply for? Obviously, ourselves and David's team are working really close together to make sure the maximum amount of supply chain companies will be supported. So if you apply for one and then you see the other one come up, don't worry, there is the kind of ability. We would have that discussion with yourselves to kind of see which one you would be applicable for.
Exactly. And I would like to mention that please don't let assumptions or ambiguities stop you from applying. Get in touch with us. We will clarify everything for you if it's required, and make sure that you are fully aware of everything and then make the decision about applying or not to apply. So please feel free to be in touch with either Laura or myself, and we'll take you through the whole process.
Perfect. I think we've answered all the questions in the question section. If there's any that we have missed, please forgive us and get in touch directly, and we'll aim to get back to you as soon as possible. But yes, so hopefully that has sparked your interest, and you can head on over to the expression of interest page and kind of get all your details down. But thank you for tuning in and taking the time today to listen to us both. The webinar itself has been recorded, so it will be online after this session. And yeah, any key information, just drop us a message.